When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, welcome to the Daily Red. Your lunchtime catch up on all things Liverpool FC on a Thursday, on which we have a manager who has done an interview, and I think won over quite a few people with how he spoke and the things he said. We have a number of players partaking in the Euros. We have players about to kick off in the Copa America, and we still have transfer rumours. So, you know, it's a bit better than when nothing was happening, but there's still not a lot happening. Yesterday, in the Euros, we saw Dominik Szoboszlai's Hungary lose 2-0 to the Germans. I thought Dominik had another quiet enough game. Very unfortunate not to score after a really good free kick was saved by Manuel Neuer. But he did struggle to get into the game because the Germans are just so good in possession. They dominate the ball and Toni Kroos never gives it away. So it was hard for the Hungarians to get the ball to Dominik in areas where he was going to be able to affect the game. We also saw Andy Robertson play for Scotland against the Swiss, and he got an assist in that game. He was involved pretty much throughout. A better performance from him than what he showed against Germany, for sure. Still not a good performance, but a better performance. Xherdan Shaqiri, former Reds legend, with the world's biggest legs. I mean, he is just, it's beyond Power Cube now at this point. He is spawning further cubes. Shaqiri with the equaliser for the Swiss after Scotland had gone 1-up. Nice to see Shaq playing and scoring, though, and having a smile on his face. And then today, do we have any Reds involved today? We do, of course. We've got England playing today. So we've got Trent most likely to start. Maybe we see Joe Gomez play, but I have doubts about that. In the Copa, Alexis McAllister will be involved. Argentina will play in the opening game against Canada. That's a 1 a.m. UK time kickoff tonight, if you're up for staying up late and watching a bit of football. And obviously, Alisson, Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez are at the competition as well. So, Brazil will actually, Brazil and Colombia are in the same group, and they will meet on July the 3rd. It's a 2 a.m. kickoff UK time. So these games start tonight and they will run through to July 15th. It's actually July 14th US time. The finals are the same day for Euros and Copa, but because of the time difference, the final will be 1 a.m. on the July 15th. The group stage obviously starts tonight. The quarterfinals, because only 16 teams, which is the right number, will be July 5th, 6th, and 7th. The semi-finals, the 10th and 11th, and then the final. Some players that are worth watching from a Liverpool point of view, the ones that don't play for us yet, but might do in the future. Obviously, the two Ecuadorian defenders, Piero Hincapié and William Pacho. So, could well be worth watching Ecuador. Dario Osorio, who's been linked from Midtjylland, he is expected to start for Chile, so might be worth keeping an eye on him as well. In terms of former Reds, Luis Suarez is there with the Uruguayans. He may not start, but in all likelihood, he will come off the bench in games. And Liam Miller is in the Canadian squad now. I think he played for us once. Once. But was at the club for quite a while. If you want to watch all the Argentine games, they are tonight. Then it's the 26th at 2 a.m., so the night of the 25th. And then the 30th at 1 a.m., so the night of the 29th. Uruguay, they play on the 24th, the night of the 23rd, at 2 a.m. against Panama. Then they play Bolivia on the night of the 27th. And then the USA on the night of July 1st. For Ali, it's Costa Rica on the night of the 24th, Paraguay on the night of the 28th, and Colombia on the night of July 2nd. For Colombia, it's Paraguay on the 24th. That's an 11 p.m. kickoff on the 24th. They play Costa Rica on the 28th, an 11 p.m. kickoff, and then that game against Brazil on the night of the 2nd. The Argentines, I don't think I said, they play Canada, Chile, and Peru. So that Chile game could be interesting, obviously, to watch Alexis, but then also if you want to see this Osorio kid, if you haven't seen him before, that would be your chance. I'm very much looking forward to this competition, and I'm very much going to try and watch every game if I can. They'll match it. The slave driver that he is has me getting up in the middle of the night to record Euro 2024 podcast. So, we'll see. Jordan Shaqiri has achieved something remarkable that no one else has. Let's see now. Shaqiri is the only player to score at all of the last 3 European Championships and the last 3 World Cups. That's pretty impressive. Now, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo will likely match that. He's on a streak of scoring at 9 international competitions in a row. So this would be 10, assuming he scores in this tournament, which you'd imagine he will at some point. There'll be a penalty that he'll insist on taking, despite the fact there'll be better penalty takers on the pitch for his team, because it's all about him and nobody else. 5 key things from Arne Slot's first Liverpool FC interview: watching training and talks with players. So, Arne Slot has given his first interview as the Liverpool FC head coach, and we've picked out 5 key things from the Dutchman now in charge of the Reds. Asked what he will be focusing on and his style of coaching, Slot emphasised his desire to impact things on the training pitch. When I come in the first days, in the first week I'm here, I'm going to be really focused on the training ground. I think there is a place where you can influence. I think that is the place where you can influence the most. I assume that's what he meant. It says, I think there is a place. I think what he actually said was, I think that is the place where you can influence the most. And you have to influence the most, because you have to influence your players common to the game model and your game plan. So that that obviously does sound, sounds rudimentary, but sounds promising, because I think it's fair to say that we haven't looked particularly well coached over the last 2 seasons. He then was asked about, similarities between him and Jurgen. There's obviously certain areas of overlap, but I think people are going to be surprised at how different the football is. I suppose he's more similar to the Jurgen that arrived at Liverpool. He's very different to the Jurgen that left Liverpool in terms of the playing style. Then he spoke about what you can learn from the training sessions and how he'd actually watched a lot of the training sessions from last season, because he was looking at the culture and things like that, and just how the group was in terms of dynamic. Speaking with players so far, he revealed he had spoken with some players so far, in particular Virgil van Dijk. I've reached out to a few of them, all of them after Jurgen left, because I thought it was really important to be fair to Jurgen and be fair to the players, because they had to end the season, and I don't think I would be really happy if my successor would have called players before I left the club. So that's obviously very respectful. Then I think it's normal to start with the captain, which is Virgil, which is an easy one for me because we could speak Dutch. Yeah, I mean, this all makes a lot of sense. And I think he's definitely right about waiting until Jurgen left to have those conversations, because I don't think Jurgen would have minded, honestly, but I do think it's good to show that respect. Similarities with Feyenoord as a club. So he spoke about the comparisons between the cities, the fan bases and things like that. And I thought that was a very interesting angle to take, and also a very accurate angle to take. And then his message to the fans. There is change, but the change hopefully isn't that big, because we still have the same players, we still have the same fans. And if the both of them are going to do the same job, that will make my life a lot easier. Well, hopefully the same job as last year, Arnie, or the year before, but certainly maybe the year before that, and 2 years before that, and the year before that. That'd be good. Like, anything from the first 4 seasons, really, would be great. If you can emulate that, that'd be tremendous stuff. What else do we have here on This Is Anfield? So, Liverpool transfer plans could hint at an uncomfortable Virgil van Dijk decision. We'll come back to that. Lenny Yoro transfer update. So, Marca, which is basically a Real Madrid fanzine, came out yesterday and said, Real have an agreement with him. But yet, actual journalists have said Real think that they're actually falling behind in the race to get him. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I assume he will end up at Real, but I don't think we'd be wasting our time if there was no hope of getting him done. Arne Slot reveals his role in Liverpool transfers, talks held every day. So he said he's been in contact with Richard Hughes on the regular, and it all sounds very promising. What do we have then? With Virgil van Dijk entering the final year of his contract, could Liverpool's plans for the transfer market hint at an awkward decision? I doubt it. I do very much doubt it. I don't think there'll be any notion of not keeping Virgil van Dijk. As I said yesterday, if we look at Guehi and Calafiori, I think Guehi would play on the right, and I think Calafiori would play at left back. So that's what I think will happen. And as for the line here at the bottom, but with Slot employing a similar setup to Klopp, with an inverted right back and an overlapping left back, any new arrival would likely be competition for the number 4 if they're a left-side centre-back. That isn't true. It just isn't true. He doesn't play a similar setup to Klopp. How he uses fullbacks is totally different to how Klopp uses his. Totally different. People have this notion that there's only one way to invert a fullback because they don't actually watch football. They just like to spout their nonsense over and over again. And that line is absolute nonsense. He doesn't use his fullbacks the same way. He doesn't employ a similar setup. He employs a very, very different setup to how Jurgen uses his fullbacks. AnfieldWatch.co.uk. Let's have a look. Liverpool transfer blow as Real Madrid agreed deal. Right, we'll come back to that. Liverpool transfers every completed signing and done deal. Well, we haven't done anything, so there's nothing worth going into there. There's a few pieces about Arne Slot, a piece about Trent and Gary Neville saying he's not good enough to play in midfield. I actually kind of agree that he's not good enough as a midfielder to play in a double pivot. But Gary Neville is an absolute clown who is primarily behind the ridiculous nonsense that Trent is not a good defender. Trent's issue has never been whether or not he can defend. It's whether or not he wants to defend. Liverpool have been dealt a significant transfer blow as it's been revealed that Real Madrid have now reached a total agreement with Lenny Yoro or over the terms of a transfer. Again, this is Marca. This is not any sort of revelation. This is a Real Madrid fanzine doing the bidding of the club, likely to try and scare off other clubs who Real might be a little bit concerned could nip in and grab the player. So it just seems a little bit odd that anybody would write this article on a Liverpool website in the manner that this has been written. Like, you've written this as if to say, oh, well, it's a done deal. You can't reach a total agreement with a player over the terms of a transfer. You can reach agreement with his reps over the terms of a contract, but not over the terms of a transfer. And it's already been widely reported that Real are not willing to pay what Lille want for him. So, again, it just seems like what Marca are doing here is trying to scare clubs off on behalf of Real Madrid in the hopes that all of the clubs will walk away and then Real, come late in the window, will just try and bully Lille into selling at a low price because they'd rather get some money than no money next summer. There's a piece here about Ousmane Diomande, who would be an interesting get, similar stylistically to Ibu. So, could make a lot of sense for us, but he's got a very high buyout, and I'd be a little bit hesitant to pay the buyout. I think it's like 70 million. It says here 67 million. He's very, very good. He's not Euro level of potential, but he's got a very high ceiling. But I still would have concerns about paying 67 million for someone that I don't know tops out at Ibu's level or better. I'm pretty convinced Euro tops out a level above Ibu, or maybe 2 levels above Ibu. Euro is very, very special. Stylistically, Diomande is more similar to Ibu, but I do think Euro's the one that can rotate with Ibu in the short term, and then long term he can replace Virgil. Let's see now. AnfieldIndex.com. There's a piece about Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao. There is a piece about Kvaratskhelia and claims that we have made contact. Ideally, we'll sell Luis Diaz and buy him. That would be tremendous for all parties. It's a piece about Al Nazir preparing a bid for Virgil. A piece about Arne Slot's first interview. And then summer tournaments, the hidden obstacle in Liverpool's transfers. That one was written by Stephen Smith, so do give that a read when you get a chance. Podcast-wise, just the two I mentioned yesterday, the new fatigue index, along with the transfer show with Trev and Dave Davis. So do give those a listen when you have a chance. And what have we got coming here? There will be another... There's a new Stat Me Up, which obviously had been on Anfield Index. They're now being released on EPL Index. So if you go to your podcast provider, search EPL Index Podcast, that's where you'll find Stat Me Up from now on. You can also find our daily Euro 2024 podcast on that feed, or if you're a subscriber to Anfield Index Pro, you can get them there as well. And that's it. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Have a pleasant evening.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.